Hello there guys, it's me Unstable Voltage and welcome to episode 5 of Civilization Beyond Earth. Had some strange things go on in the last video. I actually lost a couple of trade routes and I couldn't really work out how that had happened. I didn't even notice it had happened until I actually failed a quest with the station down here, and then I can't actually figure out why it happened. The aliens can't attack my trade routes. The only thing that I can surmise is that when I had that brief war with the PAC, that their explorers auto-pillaged the trade routes, which is a real shame because obviously it's now means that the turns required to build those trade routes were now wasted, and it also means those quests have failed, and I wasted the potential bonuses I could have got from those stations. That's not to say we won't be able to get other stations as time goes on. I don't think it's going to be too much of a problem. It's not the end of the world. We do have quite a lot of aliens close by, so we do need to be careful. A little bit unhappy about the fact that we've got this siege worm right next to our territory. Got to try and make sure that we keep everything as alive as possible. Do we have the ultrasonic fence yet over here? No, we don't. I think we have one in our capital. In fact, we must have one over here. Has been a few days since I played, so bear with me. Yeah, we do have the ultrasonic fence here, which we must have at least one anyway. Otherwise, we wouldn't have been able to have got the quest to stop them from attacking our trade routes. We're going to go on to the next turn and see what happens. Hopefully, we won't take too much of a beating from the aliens. This siege worm could be a problem for my worker, although I'm hoping he keeps away from the city. Unfortunately, that one has... we can do a little bit more damage to it. This one has pillaged a farm, which is a little bit of a pain. And now that worm can't actually get any closer, so at least these guys here are relatively safe. But it's very, very annoying when they start pillaging my my tiles here. I think for the time being we'll just leave that one as it is. I can develop another virtue. So what should I go into? What is it worth going for? We do have a little bit of net happiness. I think one thing that I should start working down to is Magnasanti, because that will give me a lot of additional health. The question is, which way do I go for it? Now, getting an extra 6 energy per turn from stations would be nice, but currently I'm not trading with any stations. 25% more yields from internal trade routes. I'm going to be running quite a few of those, and that will be quite useful, especially given the fact that they have been nerfed in the patch. So that is actually what I am going to go for, although if I take one more thing in knowledge, we would get the extra 10% culture in every city, which could be nice. So maybe it's worth just getting creative class and finishing that, or getting cohesive values. Either of those could be useful. It may not necessarily be worth taking the tier 1 virtue, because we probably won't pick up another... well, we may pick up another tier 1 virtue in the future. Wouldn't give us a free virtue though, so not all that useful. We don't have any trade routes at the moment. It's probably going to be a while before we get there. Happiness is going to be a big problem, and it's going to be a problem soon. So I think we do have to carry on and at least rush one of the happiness virtues before we can do anything else. Let's hit next turn, and hopefully we can deal with the aliens before we have to worry too much about... right, unit needs orders. I guess you can actually fire at this siege worm, although you're not going to do any damage to it at all, so you may as well actually just stay in Liqueur at this point. I did play another multiplayer game recently where something interesting happened. I actually had a triangle of cities, each of them with an ultrasonic fence, and a siege worm managed to get itself stuck in the middle to the point where it couldn't actually move, and I was quite... happily just standing next to it and bombarding it. Still a real pain though. We do really, really need to try and get this, convince this worm to go away, which is going to be quite difficult. Prosperity now actually has an extra citizen. I think we are going to be working all of the good tiles, and indeed we are. Still can't quite work out whether or not it is going to be supremacy or purity that I go for. I know we've already got 1 point in purity, but there is quite a lot of Pharaxite around up here, so it's probably going to be supremacy that I do end up going for. Completed an expedition. Not too sure where that was. The vision was detailed. granting a free level up in an affinity. Oh, well, it's a good job I just thought about that then, wasn't it? So, free affinity level. Let us go supremacy. I definitely think that is where we're going to be heading.
We fled Earth because it was...
And where were those guys, actually? Oh, you're all the way across there. That's actually quite some distance. And they get a free expedition module, of course, because we just took that little upgrade. We'll heal them up, and then we'll continue doing some exploration with them. We have got step mining down here, so there is still a few stations around that we... And K-Gungun. So there are still a few stations around that we can trade with. Got to be careful of the AI. We don't want them getting too big. They could be problematic. They can and will declare war. But we will be very, very careful. Like I said, there's no point trying to shoot at that worm because I'm not going to do any damage with it. So I'm just going to leave my guy in the city for now. Let's go on to the next turn there. Wait for the... at least he hasn't destroyed anything else. He's just gone back onto that tile. We are going to need more workers as well. It would just be nice if we could get rid of some of these aliens because there's quite a lot of them around. Let's heal you up for a few turns. We're going to have a few uneventful turns here while we're just waiting for things to happen. Let's just go ahead and continue to try and deal with that worm. Might actually be able to kill it off. The other aliens aren't too much of a problem. It's just the siege worms that become very, very problematic. And until we can actually get our rangers upgraded to the next level, they're not really going to be able to do an awful lot of damage to them. Would also like to get an ultrasonic fence in all of my cities. Obviously, we can't do... Oh, we've got another station. Brilliant. So we are going to have places to trade with. Now, unfortunately, we can't actually get an ultrasonic fence here until it becomes an actual city anyway. And even Prosperity is too busy working on a trade convoy. But it will be important to get trade convoys up and running as quickly as possible. You've completed the laboratory. Another worker would be very, very useful, but a trade convoy would only take 5 turns. And it's a little bit pointless trying to get a worker onto a lot of these tiles while we have so many aliens around causing us some problems. I think we're going to try and move this worker over here and work on this fungus tile. Let's go on to the next turn. This worm's actually getting quite low on health now, which is a good thing. Do want to go and repair some of these tiles, but oh, now we've actually got another siege worm. This is very, very unfortunate and very, very unfair. Don't have anywhere near enough energy to buy an ultrasonic fence either. Where's that worm that was over here? Has he gone away? Is that the same worm here? I think the worms can actually teleport because they don't spawn from alien nests like a lot of units do. A little bit worried that this worker could potentially be attacked where he is. I'm going to move him back towards the city for now and try and heal him up. We really, really need to get the ultrasonic fence built in Prosperity. Otherwise, we're going to have a lot of issues with aliens. I mean, we already have a lot of issues with aliens. Okay, hopefully that's going to be one dead worm. No, it still somehow managed to survive with like a single hit point. Anyway, we've got a quest decision. We can get an additional science or an additional health from Pharma Labs. We're already in negative health to the sum of -1. So let's go for the health. That puts us back up to 0, which does technically count as positive. We'll try and heal this worker up a little bit. It's very annoying. It's not many games that I play where I actually get this many problems from aliens this early on. See, the AI is completing a few wonders. Okay, that's one dead worm. Finally, we've got rid of one of them. And that gives us 45 science and 180 energy. That is not a bad thing. How much would it cost us, by the way, to purchase a ultrasonic fence? 460. We're a little way off from doing that. So let us decide to produce... Let's go for the Cyto Nursery to get some more health and some more science. Actually, the science isn't that big a deal. Let's go for the Pharma Lab and try and get our health sorted first. Unit needs orders. You have healed up nicely, so let's continue exploring with you. We've actually got some more progenitor ruins up here. Unfortunately, we can't get to that unless we can embark. So we are going to need to research a tech for that. I might do it after computing, actually. So we'll... Unless do I already have it or not? I don't think I do. No, planetary survey, 4 turns. We'll queue that up after we finish computing. And that'll help things out a great deal for us. This trade convoy, well, you're actually safe from the aliens, so I don't have to worry too much about that. So it might be worth trading with some of these... I mean, obviously the internal trade routes can be quite nice. We'd be sending 4 food and 4 production to Liqueur if we actually went that way. But I don't want these stations to go away. Getting some additional food and energy per turn would be nice, as we're getting some additional science and culture. But we will get another trade trade convoy built over here at some point. So let's go on to the next turn. One thing they have changed in the patch is you can no longer purchase a trade depot. You have to hard build them now because obviously trade depots were so overpowered. So that does make life a little bit more difficult. But again, it does make the game more balanced. We're going to have to remember that's there because we just cannot get to it at the moment. Although we're only a few turns away, but we'll just have a little bit of a scout round in this direction. Not too much of a scout round in this direction because of course there's another flipping siege worm there, which is something that we could quite happily live without. It looks like a lot of the aliens over here are backing off. Maybe killing that siege worm was enough to make them think twice about it. There are still a few units around there that I do want to be very, very careful of. Okay, got some more tubers. There's some floatstone here. We get to choose a new production in Liqueur. It's now finished another trade convoy, which is really, really nice. Let's go ahead and get ourselves a worker, because we are going to need at least a couple more. This worker over here, again, I'm a little bit concerned because of the aliens that are flying around. It would be nice if we could go over here and get these tubers. That is probably something that we'll try and do. We'll get some food. It'll help with the growth. Trade convoy. Well, we could send you to Kegungun and we could get the science and culture. So let's go ahead and do that. And we will start getting some more trade convoys. We're always going to try and have maximum number of trade convoys running from all of our cities. Internal trade routes before the patch used to be really, really good. And my advice to anybody would have been just use internal trade routes everywhere, because internal trade routes are awesome. That's not going to be the case here anymore, but they are still very, very good. Alien nest down there, hardly a big surprise really. We do need to try and get that resource pod if we can, although it's going to be quite tricky to do so. You are going... Do we bother trying to clear the miasma first? 10 turns to construct a plantation. Yeah, let's clear the miasma first. There are some times where I would advise actually leaving miasma on a tile. And the reason I say that is because sometimes when you get attacked, particularly by the AI will quite happily march his army through miasma and take loads of damage before he even gets to you. So sometimes it's worth leaving miasma, particularly if you're Harmony. Then, of course, eventually your units heal up in miasma, and it's always worth keeping the miasma there. Let's move you guys forward. You can't move any further forward. Planetary survey will finish at the end of this turn, so you will be able to embark. Luckily, you do have that extra expedition module from the rank 1 of supremacy. So there's planetary survey discovered. We can now go ahead and embark. Luckily, unlike Civilization 5, we don't need to move him back into our borders to be able to do that. So the question is, what do we go for next? What could be quite useful? I think the ectogenesis pod has already gone. Let's just see if we can double check that. If we look at, yeah, it's the PAC have already got the ectogenesis pod. Sometimes going for the wonders is a complete waste of time because the AI generally tends to beat you to most of them, particularly the good ones anyway. Alien life forms is going to be good. Extra culture from paddocks and alien preserves is always very, very useful. But we do need to remember that we are starting to try and work into supremacy. Maybe going for power systems to get geothermal wells, as well as quarries, could be very, very useful. Defense grid could also be potentially useful as well. Getting the panopticon could be quite good. It gives 1 extra culture per turn, which isn't great, but it does give your units 1 extra site. And it does mean that you can actually build these defense perimeters, which make your cities a little bit tougher. Although maybe it's a little bit early in the game to be spending a lot of production on a single wonder. So I think I might go into power systems just so we can get geothermal wells. Geothermal will give us an awful lot of dust. We do have a quest. Explorer units can get 1 additional exploration module, or we can get +1 science from laboratories. Obviously we're going to go for the +1 science because it is much more useful and a lot less situational. So let's go on to the next turn. We have cleared that miasma now. So we can go ahead and improve that fungus. After we finish this progenitor ruin, of course, we will have to bring our explorer back home if we want to get another research module. So let's get on there. We are actually right next to a wolf beetle, which is a little bit annoying. I'm hoping that he's going to leave us alone. I couldn't see him there for a start, which is a little bit of a pain. So we finished a worker, which is all good stuff. Is there anything here that we particularly need? I guess just getting some more trade convoys. Now, do I want trade convoys or do I want trade vessels? Doesn't appear to be that much stuff coastal, so let's continue with trade convoys. It's only 4 turns, so that is going to be good for us. You're going to construct a plantation there. We've almost got this place upgraded to a fully working city. This worker can go up here and repair this farm. Haven't seen that siege worm around for a while, so maybe we have scared them off enough. I just hope that those things up there aren't going to attack my explorer, which is a little bit of a pain if they do. Doesn't appear that they have, which is good. So you can go up there. You can't do anything just yet. You guys are going to 5 turns for the expedition. So like I said, hopefully those wolf beetles will leave you alone and allow you to get it built. We are starting to make some energy now. I could potentially build an ultrasonic fence or buy an ultrasonic fence at one of my cities, but I don't think we're going to be doing that straight away. We've got our 3rd city now, which puts us on -4 on the old health scale, which isn't brilliant. It looks like it'll take quite a long turn to build anything here, but I think we're going to go for the clinic for that +2 health. Or do we go for the old earth relic first? I think we're going to go for the old earth relic, actually. As soon as we get some of these internal trade routes running, it will really help things out. What tile are you working, by the way? It's a city that I want to click on. 2 food. Well, you might as well work on the titanium tile, and I think we're going to try and get that one upgraded quite quickly, because titanium is a very good tile. We will need the tech for that, of course, because I don't think we've picked that up already, but it does mean that we can get that next. Pretty sure that's not one of my units. So, somebody is getting attacked by the aliens. I'd still really like to be able to go and get that pod that's over there, but I just don't know how easy it is going to be to get to it. We have finished computing, so we are going to want to build our sort of spy headquarters, so we'll probably do that within the next few turns. It looks like it's a PAC unit. They're trying to clear the alien nest, which they have done because they've moved on to it. So it gives them a little bit of energy. On the plus side, it does clear up some of the aliens around here, which is, you know, potentially good for me. That pod is still there. I'm not totally sure that I can get to it. Hopefully the aliens will leave me alone, but you never know. Let's go ahead and build the spy agency. It is going to be 13 turns, but it is going to be required. Prosperity has finished its farmer lab. That's put us up to -1, so it's not terrible. We still don't have the old earth relic here yet either, so let's go ahead and get that built. Oh, we can actually go ahead and build the mine on the titanium. That's great. Let's go ahead and do that. Obviously, I picked that technology up and I hadn't even realised it. So, let's go ahead and send 7 food. Well, we can send 7 food and 4 production to Prosperity, or 4 food and 7 production to Angster. Let's go to there, because that will help us with building a lot of the things that are queued up. So, 13 turns for the old Earth Relic. I think it was like something like 20 turns before or something like that, so it has shaved a fair bit off it. The aliens are attacking me there, unfortunately. I had a feeling that they were going to. And they've moved back on top of the pod, which is not what I wanted to happen. So I am going to move back. I can only move 1 hex, unfortunately, because obviously zone of control. I can't really move away. Can't move in that direction because of zone of control, and this direction is forest, so it uses up all of my movement. That pack combat rover's not going to get it. Surely the aliens will kill him before he gets a chance to do anything. So you're going to go ahead and construct a mine. That will give it +5 production, and that will be an epic tile to work. We've completed another expedition. Artificial evolution. So we've got some more research thanks to that. What we are going to have to do is get those guys safely back as well. Expedition completed. Very good. Very, very good. Okay, let's get you back away from these guys. Might bring him back to one of our cities just to pick up some more Explorer modules. These aliens do appear to be giving some form of chase. You're just going to go back to the city and heal up for now. I would really love to get to that pod, but I just don't know how I can Wow, you've actually got an explorer right next to it. Now the question is, are they going to attack the explorers? So we've actually completed a quest there now. 13 towards the affinity purity and 325 energy. So we've actually got level 2 purity. We've also now got level 2 supremacy as well, which is quite good. So we can build gene gardens. We can also build feed site hubs. You guys, I think I'm just going to heal for a turn. If the PAC end up getting that, let them. I just don't care anymore. We can actually upgrade our rangers to gunners though, which will help. So we can either give them an extra plus 5% hit points healed when they're not embarked, or we can give them plus 30% when defending against range, which is probably better. So let's go ahead and take that. Production in prosperity, we've now finished that old earth relic. Do I desperately need to get the ultrasonic fence? I don't think I do. So let's go ahead for the Cyto nursery. We do need to try and get some health up as much as possible. What should we go for next? What could be useful for us? Rocket battery could be useful. We haven't been declared on yet, but being able to build them is never a bad thing. Robotics would also be really good as well. It allows to get auto plants, build Fraxite mines, and to get tac jets. That's going to be very, very useful for us. So let's go ahead and do that. Definitely. On to the next turn. I also see we've got some African Union units moving up towards us here. Not particularly thrilled by that idea. That could be a prelude to an attack. Some of them have lost some health though. They are trekking their way through miasma to get here. Let's move down here so we've got a little bit of better vision. We might be able to grab that. We do have a river crossing, which is what makes it problematic. We're going to move you across over... Oh, we've already got one in this city. That's fine. Not too bad. We'll leave you there for the time being. Then let's start to try and bring this guy back, because we have got to the end of this continent over here. Marine. Let's just leave you there for now. Yeah, they're definitely coming to attack something. They're not going to send a ranger and 2 marines up here for no reason. It is possible they're coming up here to try and attack the station. That is always a possibility. But they can't get to it in this direction because they'd need open borders with me. Because all of this is canyons and mountains. So the only way to get to Camp Cascade is to either go through this hex here, which is mine. So they can't get to it. Or they could go around in this direction. Which does mean they'll have to go through a fair bit of miasma. I'd prefer they didn't take this place out. But this is giving me food and energy, which I can get from other sources. So it's not the end of the world if they do take it out. I just really, really prefer it right now if they didn't. Okay, doesn't look like they've managed to get that pod. Ah, they have got that pod. Typical. Okay, fine. All the time I try to get it and the AI just walks in and picks it up. So we've cleared the forest for prosperity, which is very nice. See, these guys are still taking damage from just sitting around in miasma, so... This is why I always say, unless you need to clear the miasma, just leave it there, because the AI will more often than not just go and suicide itself on it, which is fine. So, what else have we got? We're going to try and bring you back home if we can. So, what are you doing with these units? I thought they had 2 Marines and 1 Ranger. So, there's another Marine around somewhere, which means they've got 4 units altogether. I can run you through there quite safely. We do get to pick another virtue now. Production from manufacturing improvements. I very, very rarely, if ever, build manufactories, mainly because they do give you negative health, so I'm not going to bother with that. And certainly not going to build any while I am in negative health. Cheaper energy production for building units. That's not necessarily a bad thing, particularly when somebody could be about to attack us. We'll have to get civic duty to get Magnasanti anyway. So it gives us a little bit of extra production. So we're going to go into liquidity first. We get a free virtue, because of course we're Franco-Iberia, so let's go, because we've got 10 virtues, so let's go in and pick civic duty. That'll give us some extra production. And then the next time we get a virtue in 23 turns, unless we get some extra culture before then, we will be able to sort out our happiness problems, probably, once and for all. This worker has finished that titanium mine. Let's go ahead here now. I don't think we can build the gold mines yet. Maybe we can. Oh yeah, we should be able to, because gold is just a sort of a basic luxury. But look at this tile now. It's absolutely fantastic. It gives us 5 production and 2 food. That is an amazingly good tile to work. We're on 2 citizens here, but you're working that tile. 3 food. It's not a bad tile to work. But do we want you to go here and get the extra production and culture? 2 turns until growth, 4 turns until growth. I think you can afford to work that tile. But anyway, I think that's a good point to end the video. So thanks a lot for watching, guys. I hope you are still enjoying Civilization Beyond Earth. And I'll see you on the next video. So until then, goodbye for now.